This is the Yocal Idaho Midweek Report, where we give you a quick overview of the news in Idaho. This week, we'll be giving you a report on what happened with the Idaho Caucus and the results with that, plus some news about some different voting and bills and levies that are coming up here in May. Then we'll also dive into a railroad accident that happened up north, plus some other stuff with an update about the Facebook data center here in the valley in Kuna, and many more topics, so stay with us. Starting off with the first one here, Idaho Caucus results. Trump triumphant as the GOP frontrunner. This comes by several sources. In a decisive victory, former President Donald J. Trump has clinched the Idaho Republican Caucus, securing the state's support in the race for the Republican presidential nomination. With a commanding lead, Trump garnered 33,527 votes, translating to 84.88% of the total, while the former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley received 5,215 votes, or 13.2%. Despite the presence of other candidates on the ballot, only Trump and Haley had actively campaigned during the caucus. The caucus process, which required an in-person attendance, saw participation from Republicans across the state, with 210 caucus locations facilitating the vote. Notably, Kootenai County reported a staggering 94% support for Trump. However, the turnout was significantly lower than expected, with approximately 93% of Idaho's registered Republicans not casting a vote, reflecting the challenges of doing a caucus in a state that hasn't had one for so long, and the need for the party leadership to communicate better with its members. The Idaho's GOP's move to a caucus system this year, a shift from primary elections of previous years, was a result of legislative changes that inadvertently eliminated the presidential primary. And speaking of voting, Nampa seeks voters' approval for a $38 million bond to tackle traffic and school safety. This comes by several sources. Nampa voters are set to decide on a transportation bond in the upcoming May elections, continuing the city's efforts to improve its infrastructure. The proposed 20-year, $38 million bond aims to fund several crucial transportation projects, addressing the community's top priorities as identified in a recent survey. This bond, costing taxpayers approximately $18 per 100,000 of the taxpayer's value of a residential home, translates to about $40 to $50 annually for the average property in Nampa, or $3 to $4 monthly. Interestingly, the financial impact on residents is expected to be neutral, as the new bond would replace an expiring $38 million bond from 2004, maintaining the current tax rate without any increase or decrease. The projects slated for funding through this bond include the extension of State Highway 16 down Airport Road, improvements to 11 Avenue South for the two-way traffic, and the creation of a 4-lane connection between 12th and 11th South Avenue, among others. The initiative was designed to significantly alleviate traffic congestion in the downtown core and enhance access to I-84, with the total cost for the State Highway 16 extension project alone estimated at $80 million. Additionally, the bond would fund sidewalk improvements at 6 schools. As Election Day on May 21st approaches, the city is actively engaging with the public through various channels, including social media, open houses, and direct mail, to ensure voters are well informed about the bond and its implications. For the bond to pass, it requires a 2/3 majority approval, underscoring the importance of community support for infrastructure projects. And speaking of schools and infrastructure, House Bill 521, Idaho's Path to School Infrastructure Renewal, this comes by several sources. House Bill 521 is a proposal aimed at modernizing Idaho's aging school infrastructure, has passed the Idaho House, and is now making its way to the Senate. This bill, which saw a majority of vote of 61 in favor and 6 against, is part of Governor Bradlittle's ambitious 10-year, $2 billion plan to revitalize public school facilities across the state, marking it as the most significant investment in school infrastructure in Idaho's history. The bill proposes to allocate $125 million in ongoing sales tax revenue to the newly established School Modernization Facilities Fund, with an increase in sales tax revenue from 2% to 3% and a redirection of existing lottery dividends to the fund. Despite its broad support, the bill has faced opposition from 6 Boise Democrats, highlighting a divide in perspectives on how best to address the state's educational infrastructure needs. Proponents argue that the bill is a necessary step towards ensuring Idaho schools can provide a safe and conducive learning environment for students, while also offering tax reliefs to residents. Critics, however, have raised concerns about the implications of the funding mechanisms and the potential impact on other state-funded services. The bill's progression is being closely watched by educators and policymakers alike, especially in light of its potential to affect the state's budget significantly. The redirection of sales tax revenue and lottery dividends to the Schools Modernization Facility Fund could have far-reaching consequences for Idaho's fiscal landscape, necessitating careful consideration of the bill's long-term financial sustainability and alignment with the state's broader fiscal goals.
Which brings us to Canyon County to vote on vital ambulance district funding levy. This also comes by several sources. Canyon County voters are set to make a crucial decision this May on a $7.98 million override levy proposed by the Canyon County Ambulance District Board. The levy, if passed, would increase the funding available for emergency medical services in the county. The proposed levy would raise the amount taxpayers contribute from about $10 to $31 per $100,000 of assessed property value annually, translating to less than $2 a month per $100,000. District Chief Michael Stoll emphasizes that this small amount could go a long way in improving the district's ability to serve the community effectively. The additional funds would be used to increase pay for staff, compete with neighboring counties for paramedics, and potentially reduce response times for critical emergencies where every second counts. However, the levy has sparked debate among Canyon County residents. Supporters, including Caldwell Fire Chief Richard Frawley, argue that the levy is essential for the community's growth and success, ensuring that paramedics have the necessary resources and personnel to respond to emergencies. On the other hand, opponents are concerned about the financial burden on taxpayers, especially given the current economic climate, and question whether the county can afford such an increase. Not to mention a growing fear of the slow and gradual increase of funding for programs over time. The levy would also fund the rebuilding of a station in South Nampa, one of the county's busiest areas, the construction of a new station in South Caldwell, and the purchase of new vehicles. Without the levy, Stoll warns that the district may have to reduce services within the year, a situation he describes as reality rather than a scare tactic.
Which, if you like hearing about this type of stuff and being informed of what's going on with the levies, do us a favor and hit the like button on YouTube, Rumble, or Twitter. It helps us reach more folks who love Idaho just like you. And speaking of things going on in Nampa and developing, Nampa welcomes big box outlet to former Kmart location. The long vacant Kmart building in Nampa is set to welcome a new tenant, marking a significant shift for its sporadic use since 2018. The big box outlet store, a bargain business known for its unique shopping experience, where customers can find a wide range of discount items in large bins, has announced its move into the former Kmart location. This comes after the closure of the big box outlet's previous location on Caldwell Boulevard in February of 2023 due to the landlord's decision not to renew the lease. Brian Knoll, the owner of the big box outlet, expressed excitement about reopening in Nampa and the return of half of his former team. The big box outlet store operates on a distinct business model, offering a new inventory every Saturday with prices starting at $12 and decreasing daily until the following Friday's 50-cent Friday sale. This model, along with the store's practice of selling unmanifested surplus items from distributors, including brand new products from Amazon, provides an unpredictable and exciting shopping experience for consumers. There are more details available on Big Box's social media pages. This move is not only a revitalizing of a space left empty by the departure of Kmart, Nampa's last Treasure Valley area location, but also brings a unique retail option to the local community, promising a blend of bargain hunting and community engagement. Also, while we're sticking in the millions and expensive things, YMCA's $80 million downtown Boise revitalization project, this comes by KTVB7 by staff. YMCA's ambitious $80 million project to revitalize its downtown Boise facility has received a significant lift thanks to a strategic land exchange agreement with the Capital City Development Corporation, or CCDC, and a generous $5 million donation from Cap Ed Credit Union. In a revelation that caught many by surprise, Treasure Valley YMCA CEO David Durham announced the partnership, describing it as a cornerstone in creating a, quote, partner-rich ecosystem, end quote, aimed at addressing the community's most pressing needs. This collaboration will see a new 109,000 square foot building, aptly named the Cap Ed Downtown Boise YMCA, marking a new chapter in the YMCA's 130-year legacy. The new YMCA hub is set to offer an array of unique features and community programs, including a Thrive Center with families with special needs children, designated teen spaces, a teaching kitchen, a mindfulness studio, and an intergenerational space designed to connect community members of all ages. Additionally, the facility will include 577 parking spaces and a child development center with 221 spots, alongside an on-site medical and higher education specialist, embodying the YMCA's vision of a holistic community center.
Then we have Rexburg's Highway 20 interchanges set for major overhaul. This comes by the East Idaho News by staff. The Idaho Transportation Department launched a major construction project on March 11 to revamp two critical interchanges on U.S. Highway 20 in Rexburg. The interchanges at University Boulevard, exit 332, and State Highway 33, exit 333, will be reconstructed into diverging diamond interchanges, or DDIs, to improve safety and traffic flow. Initial work will focus on utility adjustments and the installation of temporary traffic signals at exit 333, with permanent signals to be added at the Salem Highway ramps, exit 337. Motorists can expect lane closures outside peak hours this spring, leading up to full closures of each interchange during the summer. University Boulevard in June and State Highway 33 in August, with the entire project slated for completion by late October. To minimize disruption, at least one lane will remain open in each direction on University Boulevard and State Highway 33 until the summer closures. While U.S. Highway 20 will stay open to through traffic, local drivers should plan for detours and altered traffic patterns. ITD will host an open house on April 2 at Madison High School from 4 to 6 p.m. to discuss the project's details and impacts with the community. Further information and resources, including a video on navigating the new DDIs, will be available online to assist residents in adjusting to the upcoming changes.
And speaking of transportation, railroad crew injured in head-on train collision near Bonner's Ferry. This comes by the Bonner Ferry Herald by Emily Bosnett. A railroad crew man sustained minor injuries following a head-on collision between two trains on a Union Pacific track near Mirror Lake Road West and Boundary County, Bonner's Ferry. The incident, which occurred shortly before noon on last Monday, involves one train carrying grain and another hauling empty log cars. Despite the potentially hazardous nature of the collision, which took place at an estimated speed of 17 miles per hour, both trains remarkably remained on the tracks, and there were no derailments or life-threatening injuries reported. The injured crewman, whose personal details remained undisclosed, was promptly taken to a local hospital with a wrist injury, highlighting the incident's limited physical impact on those involved. The collision prompted a swift response from local emergency services, including North Bench Fire and mutual aid from Boundary Ambulance, South Boundary Fire, Paradise Valley Fire, and Boundary County Emergency Management. While Mirror Lake Road was temporarily closed, it reopened later Monday afternoon, ensuring minimal disruption to local traffic. However, the road will remain blocked by the stationary train until Union Pacific concludes its investigation into the cause of the incident. Local officials have assured that access to the area via Pine Island Road from the south of Riverside Road from the north remains unimpeded as the community waits for further updates from the ongoing investigation. Which, if you want to share that story so more people know about the collision that happened, don't hesitate to share it. Your shares can help us spread the word about our beautiful state. Speaking of something that we've also talked about and is kind of a prevalent thing, update on Facebook in Idaho. This comes by several sources. The much-anticipated Facebook data center in Kuna is making strides towards completion. The $800 million project, which is expected to span 960,000 square feet, is currently under construction with a target completion date in 2025. This development is set to bring about 100 permanent operational jobs to the local community and over 120 construction jobs at the peak peak of its building phase. Meta, the parent company of Facebook, has also committed to invest $50 million in a new water and sewer system for Kuna, which will be owned and operated by the city, further contributing to the community's infrastructure and long-term viability. In line with Meta's sustainability goals, the Kuna data center will be powered by 100% renewable energy thanks to the Pleasant Valley Solar Project. This new solar facility, expected to be completed by 2025, will be the largest contracted with the Idaho Power System and aims to supply clean energy to the grid used by Meta. The data center will also participate in Idaho Power's proposed Clean Energy Your Way program and invest in local water restoration projects to restore the water it consumes.
From corporate to residential developments, we have Murio Farms development faces rejection from Boise's Planning and Zoning Commission. This comes from the Boise Dev by Don Day. The ambitious Murio Farms project, aiming to introduce approximately 3,500 homes to the south of Boise, encountered significant opposition during its first public hearing this week. Despite the acute need for more housing in the area, Boise's Planning and Zoning Commission has recommended that the Boise City Council reject the proposal. The project, which was first brought to public attention by Boise Dev in 2021, includes a mix of single-family and apartment homes alongside community amenities such as a village green, school, fire station, commercial spaces, and a Basque community center. However, concerns raised by the Ada County Highway District regarding potential traffic issues and the city's internal team's warnings about future budget impacts have cast doubt on the project's viability. During the hearing, several residents from Boise and southwest Ada County voiced their opposition, leading to a 5-1 vote by the commission against the project. Commissioner Tony Torres expressed his dilemma, acknowledging Boise's desperate need for housing, but citing financial discrepancies and potential negative impacts on traffic and transportation as reasons for concern. On the other hand, Commissioner Chris Danley, the sole supporter of the project, suggested approving it with conditions to mitigate its adverse effects. Danley also raised concerns about the possibility of the county approving the project without the city's input, which could result in Boise incurring costs without reaping any tax benefits. As the debate continues, the financial decision now awaits a hearing date in front of the Boise City Council, leaving the future of Murio Farms uncertain.
And speaking of hearings and part of the legal system, Joseph Borton appointed to Idaho's 4th Judicial District by Governor Little. This comes by several sources. Governor Little has announced the appointment of Joseph Borton as the district judge for Idaho's 4th Judicial District, marking a significant addition to the state's judiciary. Borton, a seasoned trial attorney with 27 years of litigation experience, has handled a broad spectrum of civil and criminal matters. As the managing partner of Borton Lakely Law and Policy in Meridian, and the current president of the Meridian City Council, Borton has demonstrated leadership and dedication to public service. His involvement extends to serving as president of the West Ada Education Foundation, the Meridian Chamber of Commerce, and as the chairman of Big Brothers/Big Sisters of Southwest Idaho, where he has also contributed as a youth mentor for 11 years. Borton's appointment fills the vacancy created by District Judge Samuel Hogan's retirement. He's chambered in Ada County and serves Ada, Boise, Elmore, and Valley counties. His extensive legal background, combined with his active participation in community development, positions him as a well-rounded choice for the role. Borton's commitment to upholding the tradition of excellence within the district is evident in his statement, expressing honor and readiness to contribute to the judiciary's legacy of exceptional service. This appointment follows the process outlined in Idaho Code 1-2101, where the Idaho Judiciary Council submits a list of qualified candidates to the governor for selection. Which, if you don't want to miss any stories like these going into the future, especially the different cases he hears on, make sure to subscribe and follow us so you don't miss out on any of our future content.
Our next story is House Bill 444, Idaho's move to protect homeowners from government overreach. This comes from KTVB7 by Andrew Bartline. The Idaho legislature has unanimously passed House Bill 444, targeting the controversial practice known as home equity theft. This practice, spotlighted by the Mountain States Policy Center, MSPC, involves county governments seizing properties over unpaid property taxes and retaining the full sale proceeds, regardless of the amount exceeding the debt owed. The issue gained national attention following a unanimous Supreme Court ruling in Tyler v. Hennepin, which declared the practice unconstitutional. Despite this, Idaho's existing laws allow counties to bypass this ruling by transferring properties to other agencies, effectively stripping former homeowners of their rightful equity without compensation. Sponsored by Republican Representative Jeff Ehlers, House Bill 444 aims to close this loophole by prohibiting such property transfers and ensuring that any excess sale proceeds are fairly returned to the original property owners. This legislative move comes in response to concerns over government overreach and the unethical revenue generation from homeowners' losses. MSPC notes that there are no documented cases of this practice in Idaho. Which brings us to Idaho HOA legislation hits a roadblock. This comes from several sources. Idaho residents involved with homeowners associations, or HOAs, are facing a legislative stalemate as a bill that would have given them more control over their associations has been put on hold. The proposed legislation, House Bill 657, aims to allow homeowners to gain seats on HOA boards earlier in the development process, specifically when 75% of a neighborhood is built and sold. This change would have shifted some power from developers to residents before the completion of the entire project. However, the bill met opposition from homeowners and HOA industry representatives who argued that it would complicate the completion of developments and the functioning of HOAs. In response to the testimony, Representative John Weber, who introduced the bill, requested it be held for revision. It remains uncertain whether the bill will be revisited this session or if it has been shelved for the year. The legislative effort is part of a broader trend in Idaho, where in recent years, multiple bills have been introduced to address the power of HOAs and protect homeowners' rights. Last year, the Idaho legislature passed the Homeowners Association Act, which mandated public disclosure of financial documents and other protections. Additional bills are currently under consideration, including measures to define community managers and prevent HOAs from charging fees for providing financial assessment statements to homeowners.
And closing us out here, extreme weather in Pocatello sets records. This comes by the East Idaho News by Logan Ramsey. Pocatello experienced historic weather on March 2nd and 3rd, breaking 3 precipitation records and challenging the city's infrastructure and travel conditions. The National Weather Service in Pocatello reported a staggering 1.16 inches of precipitation on March 1st, surpassing the previous record of 0.76 inches set in 2014. The following day, the city received 0.85 inches, eclipsing yet another record. To put these figures into perspective, 1.16 inches is what Pocatello typically sees throughout the entire month of March. Meteorologist Eric Kropp highlighted the rarity of this event, noting that the city received its average March precipitation in just one day. The deluge didn't stop there, as Pocatello also broke a 2-day precipitation record that has stood since 1948, with a total of 2 inches. This weather anomaly, recorded at the climate site at the Pocatello Regional Airport, transitioned from warm to cold temperatures, resulting in a challenging mix of dense, wet snow, capped with a layer of lighter, fluffy snow. Kropp described the recent conditions as particularly troublesome for travelers, with a combination of heavy snow and wind creating hazardous driving scenarios. While Pocatello didn't hit any snowfall records, the significance of the weekend's weather lies in the water content of the snow, which has greater implications for the snowpack and aquifer levels. Meteorologist Jack Mezek explained that the true impact on water resources will depend on the rate of spring warming. Rapid temperature increases could lead to more surface runoff and potentially causing flooding rather than replenishing the aquifer. Thank you. You've made it the entire way through the report. I sincerely hope you found it enjoyable and valuable. If you like the Midweek Report, make sure to check out the full show where John and I talk about the main stories going on in Idaho and break them down. Also, if we missed any important points or provided incorrect information, please feel free to reach out to me via email at localyocalidaho2022@gmail.com or on Twitter by tweeting me at localyocalidaho. With the small team we have, we're not able to cover everything, but we do our best to cover the most interesting and important stories. Thank you for your continued support and assistance. That's all for now, and I wish you a fantastic rest of your week. Godspeed.